And I write her a little sticky note and I said, Anna, the VA won't give me hearing aids. They won't approve of hearing aids. And I have a horse right now, but that's for another time. And she goes, let me make a phone call. And I'm not kidding you, by the time I walked out of that meeting, I had an appointment with Department of Rehabilitative Services to go have my hearing tested. A couple weeks later, I'm wearing brand new hearing aids. Because of because of Anna. Because that's the power of the network, right? And then so I started helping Anna, and Anna, well, she can tell that story too. But the point is that the power of the network, getting the right people in the room, and all of a sudden things begin to happen. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to one of my greatest friends, Anna Doeren.
Thank you. I just want to thank you for being so generous with your time. You guys gave us your whole day. Usually a crowd leaves after lunch, I've got my free lunch, it's time to go, I'm rolling out. But you guys are the change agents at Auburn, and I congratulate you. And let's give them a round of applause, you guys. We trained you guys today. And it's an information overload, right? Y'all got a lot of information. We've said a couple of things over and over and over. You're like, all right, I already heard that. Ooh, I got that this time. Or ooh, I picked up this. And I see you guys taking notes. And it's just really important. You guys should be very proud of yourselves. Very, very proud of yourselves. Auburn University, this is a very new kind of thing. Training staff on military cultural competency has not been done. This is the first time I have seen that, and I've been in this space for a while. And my team over here, is anyone doing anything like this with their staff? We learned about military culture, but we don't necessarily connect the dots to people that hire and supervise so that their staff is culturally competent to understand a work group, right? All right, so with that, I'm going to get started. I'm not going to take long. I'm going to give you guys a few little bonuses too that you may or may not know about. There's my title. How many of y'all have heard of the Alabama Department of Rehabilitation Services? Anybody? Y'all can go ahead and raise your hand up real high. We don't have to, okay, good. Most everybody in here, because you guys have a rehab program here, right? All right, good. But before I talk to you a little bit about our mission, which is to enable Alabama's children and adults with disabilities to achieve their maximum potential, I want to take a second and thank all of our speakers before I begin, okay? Let's see who we have. I need to wear my glasses here. I know that General Burgess is gone, but I want to thank him. Some of the things he pointed out earlier were so important. I'm really glad that he took time out of his busy day to be here with us and to talk to us about this very important topic, which is the value of a veteran. I want to thank Eric Garrickson, because y'all, wasn't he a great MC? Is he not amazing? Yes, we love Eric. And, he's got a number. He's a consultant. Y'all definitely call him. Lieutenant Colonel McNaughton just got out of the National Guard, really good friend of mine, and I saw him today for the first time in civilian clothes, and I was like, what? He just transitioned, and you guys saw him. He was on point today. Did anyone really pick up on, oh, you just got out? No, he just moved right into it. Some people do, some people don't, but he moved right into it, and we appreciate him coming here today. You'll see him on some videos a little bit later. Lieutenant Colonel Michelle Alexander, thank you, uniform, being here today, representing and telling us the way. I met this gal. She took time out of her day to show up at a workforce conference because it was important for her to make sure her soldiers were educated about workforce opportunities in Alabama. And those are the types of leaders that you have running the military, making sure that they know what's going on out there, staying on point. I also want to thank, obviously, Commissioner Kent Davis. Wonderful presentation. Weren't those videos great, y'all? I know. I mean, it just really made a lot of sense. He explained stuff. And I wanted him to talk to you about leadership. I come from a recruiting background. I was a headhunter, okay? If I had had any clue on how to tap the military population into jobs I had, if I had these contacts that we're giving you guys right here, it would have made my job so much easier. And talking about leadership, the C-suite, the COOs, your CFOs, your vice presidents, your senior leadership, Commissioner Davis was able to kind of help you guys understand that, where it took me many years late into my career to really put that together, that the military does a fine job
of making sure people are leadership material on all levels. And of course, Eddie Perez. Y'all, wasn't Eddie funny? Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm talking about? Who says ninja killers in front of like a group of people? I heard Eddie say this at Hyundai. We were in Hyundai and I'll show you a slide about Hyundai in a second. He said the same line and they're like, what? Ninja killer? Who talks about that? But it's true. Eddie has seen the, from A to Z, from Ninja Killer. What was the other part? Surgeons. To surgeons. That's a good one, Eddie. All right. Steve Tillery, my new friend. Yes, Steve. What a great example. Steve is working for the largest private employer in the United States. Is that right? Did I get that right? Did you guys know that? This employer right here is your biggest employer in this country. How about that private employer? And he represents the citizen and soldier piece of the National Guard. So that was really great. And of course, Victor Dennis, thank you so much for helping us understand how it all fits together. And I just appreciate both of y'all being here today. John Sweatman. Y'all, really? Your neighbor, Opelika, was the first CSP in the United States? Y'all should be proud of that. Y'all are doing great things. And Auburn is meeting with Eddie on Monday. Isn't that fantastic? You guys are moving in the right direction up here. And I think that the rest of the state really needs to look at this area as a model of what's being done and what can be done right. Thank you, John. Kudos to you. And Glenn Challenger, y'all might have noticed we had a change of schedule. Maybe you didn't notice that at all. Glenn, thank you for stepping up to the plate and being here for me, and thank God for you. I appreciate that. And what you had to say was very important. We needed that. Excuse me as I take a drink. Charlie? Is Charlie still here? Charlie's got this public speaking background, and he's always, all right, everybody. And we love Charlie. Charlie and I go way back, and when I was first learning how to work with the military, that guy helped me learn what I'm talking about right now. So thank you. You've been a part of this a long time. We go back, 7, 8 years. Appreciate you, Charlie. Paulette Risher. Thank you for talking about the hard topics that a lot of people don't really want to talk about, maybe, veteran suicide and, transitioning and talking about the cliff that happens when you move from point A to B. No one could have said that better than you. Expert. And of course, an IO psychologist in the house. I mean, you guys are getting a full court press here. Am I wrong? All right. Lastly, Puck. I haven't met you before, Puck. Is Puck still in here? Did Puck dip out? He's got to take care of some veterans. He's got to go over to the center. But now I see why people call him Puck. Because, you know what? You guys have you guys have someone with a heart of gold right there working on staff. And so I congratulate you guys have the right people in the right places. So with that, I also want to thank Patrick and Jenna. Patrick, you did an amazing job on everything. Thank you so much. Look at this designer, agenda. And who has a QR code that, goes to somebody's bio? This is like next level. Thank you, Patrick, for all your hard work. And Jenna. Everybody stare at Jenna right here. This girl right here. Stand up, Jenna. You guys, this person in your human resources is the one that came up with this training. Thank her. She's the one that thought about it. Thank you, Jenna.
Thank you for helping us coordinate and facilitate.
Well, we try. Okay. All right, so moving on. Uh-oh. I've messed up my whole slideshow here. Boom, boom, boom. There. All right. So, how many of you guys, I'm going to talk about disability really quick. We're going to pivot onto a strange subject. It's going to circle back to military and service members. I promise you'll put the pieces together. But how many of you know someone with a disability? All right. What are we talking about here? Dyslexia, someone? What kind of disabilities do y'all know about?
I have my daughter with disability. She has
Downs. What else we got?
My niece has Williams syndrome.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. Who else wants to share? Tourette's? It's the mask, y'all. I'm sorry. Fragile X. Okay. Anybody else? Nobody wants to share. Okay, got it. All right, you're like, no, it's time to go. All right. So over 1 billion people, or 15% of the world's population, lives with a disability. Now, this isn't just service members. This is you. These are your family members. This is your community. This is you. Some of you might be here today that you might have anxiety. You might have been in a car wreck. You might have had a traumatic brain injury. How many of y'all know somebody that's been in a car wreck and that got a TBI? Oh, okay, a couple of you guys, all right. Y'all heard us mentioning, everybody's all spooked out about a veteran or service member maybe coming to work because they have a TBI and they could flip out. Well, this is a universal thing that can happen to anybody. You could fall off a bike, you could play a football game, you could run into a wall, okay? You could have had a little too much drink on campus, had a problem, okay? So, I want to talk a little bit about disability. Disability to head to toe, the way that we look at it, the Alabama Department of Rehab Services, is very broad. All right, the Americans with Disabilities Act has one definition of it. We have another one. It's under a different law, but this is very broad here. We've just thrown up a couple of terms here: diabetes, arthritis. Y'all are all getting a little bit older, right? It gets a little harder to walk up and down the stairs, You bend, stoop, lift, push and pull. You got a little kink, right? Yeah, it's not just service members that have a huge rucksack, as you guys might have noticed. There was during Thanksgiving, they walked from the University of Alabama over here, and I wish Clayton Buchanan was here today. He could maybe wave at us or whatever, but you guys might know a little bit about that rucksack. It's pretty heavy. It's gonna push on your back, might push on your, your knees a little bit. If I was carrying something like that around, I might have that too. Or if I was jumping out of airplanes or just going up from the ground to a truck, back and forth, it might blow my knees out. I might have a little arthritis. So chronic pain, stroke, stuff like that. How many of y'all know somebody that has post-COVID syndrome? Anybody? 1, 2, 3? Anybody else? You don't have to have it, but do you know somebody that's had it or they've had COVID and they maybe can't breathe or something like that? There's something going on? All right. I'm going to tell you about some services that you can give them that are no cost. So there's my picture here. You can see Heath. He's back in uniform. You see him right there? Now you know who I'm talking about. We went over to Hyundai. That's where Eddie talked about being a ninja killer, okay? He's back there somewhere. So we partner with business to enable those with disabilities to join the workforce and stay in the workforce effectively. Because what are we talking about here today? Recruiting and retaining, right? So I'm talking about your retention. So this is a very, very busy slide. I'm going to give you all a minute to process that because it's the end of the day and y'all are ready to go home, but these are the main things that we do. Coming from a recruiting background, I was hired at the state as a business relations specialist, so I'm going to partner with people like Hyundai to help that business recruit and hire people with disabilities. And as we all just saw earlier, most of us know someone with a disability. It's not that big of a deal. We know somebody with dyslexia. We know someone that's a person with diabetes, someone with arthritis. Those are people we help find jobs. All right? Technical assistance. Let's say that you're a supervisor and someone has post-COVID syndrome and they're a really great worker and you want to keep them in that job, but there's something going on. You're not really sure what. You can call me. And I can come in with our resources and work with you to help accommodate that person so that they can make sure that they're doing their jobs and they're meeting those essential functions of the job that are critical to you completing your mission. We have innovative ideas on accessibility because, let's face it, almost everybody in this room could probably identify as a person with a disability. And Google, if you say, hey Google, or hey Alexa, those were formerly, they're military driven, I think initially, but they're also accessibility. Things that are on our phones are universal design that allows us all to be able to access content quickly. And so not just those types of things, we have all kinds of cool tools that are very innovative that we can show you to help you guys, improve performance on the job. We're all about inclusion, right? We talked about the military being one of the most inclusive workforces. Inclusion and diversity is critical right now, right? Wouldn't you agree? Diversity, equity, inclusion is very important. So hiring people with disabilities, retaining people with disabilities is very important. Working with veterans, a lot of veterans have disabilities. It may not be a big deal, maybe a back thing, could be a little bit of anxiety, whatever. Working with people with disabilities is okay. It doesn't have to be scary because why? Almost everybody in here raised their hand because you either have a disability yourself or you know someone with a disability. So it's not that strange anymore. It's a lot more normal than it used to be. It doesn't have to be scary because there are accommodations for every single disability out there. And we train on disability inclusion. Some of y'all may have met me before. I was the girl that put flippers on you and shoved marshmallows in your mouth to help simulate what it's like to have cerebral palsy. Did anyone attend that? Does anyone remember that? Well, the ones that came had a really good time. A lot of professors. It was after 5. Y'all might be a different crew than the day crew. Might have been a different shift or something. But they were having a good time and they enjoyed it. I put weights on top of them as well. So they were kind of walking around, a little bit differently, but it helped them understand that if someone that has a back problem or someone that has that might be dragging their legs, someone that had a stroke, it'll help that person understand, hey, why don't I not be so hard on them? Because if I had that happening to me, it might take me a little bit longer to get to work. It might take me a little bit longer to use the bathroom on my break, so I'm going to cut them a little bit of slack. It helps you walk a little mile in their shoes, and so we offer that inclusion training. And I would like to offer that to you guys if you're interested for your departments. So there's a little bit about our training that we offer. Let y'all check that out. All right. Any questions about that? Okay, now to the military. Now, I got these numbers, and Commissioner, I had a 20% figure of service members in Alabama that come out that have disabilities. That's not a lot. Remember we were talking about, what's the real data on that earlier? How many people really have disabilities that are coming out? Not everybody has PTSD. We've told you this 4 times now in the past 4 speakers. So there's nothing to fear there, but my point is that not everybody that comes out of the military has a disability, okay? But a lot do. All right? And there's accommodations for that. So total guard and reserve force, 24,835. I just got these yesterday. Hopefully they're right. I will get pulled aside if it's wrong, but I'll just use that disclaimer there. Total active duty, 12,970. Paulette, am I close on that? Am I wrong on the guard? Okay, good. Am I close on the vet number, sir? Okay, good. That's a lot of people, y'all, isn't it? Alabama has one of the largest veteran populations. Not the largest, but one of them. All right? There's a lot of stuff that goes on when you deploy or if you don't deploy. You could stay here and have something happen just as well. All right? So the top right with the colored head right there, we have our state of Alabama head injury coordinator sitting amongst us right now. So those of you that know someone with a traumatic brain injury, this girl right here, April, will you raise your hand, please? We have a traumatic brain injury division at our agency that helps with that process. We help people with accommodations. We talked about mental illness earlier. We call that a mental health condition now because illness sounds kind of sad, doesn't it? Right? Because not everyone that has a mental health condition is sad. They just have a little bit different cocktail going on up there, right? Okay, you like that one? Y'all learned some new lines here? Okay, good. I was a little nervous about putting the guy, that has limb differences at the top there because he doesn't have a shirt on. Didn't know if it'd be appropriate or not, but I left it there, okay? Hope we're good. All right. So, one of my favorite branches here of the military, National Guard. Y'all are going to see a little bit more about that. They have a $1.3 billion impact in Alabama. That's pretty significant, wouldn't you think? And a lot of these folks, from what I've learned over the years, are in for a very long period of time. And what we learned today from Steve Tillery is that they can now qualify as veterans after 20 years. Is that right? I'm tracking on that? That's a new term I use all the time. My husband's very tired of tracking. That's a military term I've learned from all of you guys. So, everybody tracking? Anyway, my point is that oftentimes they deploy multiple times. And if you can imagine up and down out of that truck, in and out of that plane, over here, over there, jump, you might need some more air in your tires, right? Maybe, yeah. You might have, you might have some aches and pains. And so as Eric showed you earlier, the number one disability coming out of the military, what do you guys think? Hearing. if you're around a lot of loud noise, or if if you frequent a lot of concerts, those of you that have frequented many concerts in your time, or loud football games, right? You can lose your hearing. And as Eric so eloquently explained earlier, and it did kind of happen quickly like that, we had a rapid response. He was able to get that hearing aid. Unfortunately, the VA, for some reason, didn't qualify him. And the best thing about my agency, and that what I love the most, is all of us know we have this wonderful, robust system called the Veterans Administration, right? That's different from the state VA that Commissioner was talking about. He's state. There's a federal VA where they go for their benefits and they go for their medical. Sometimes it takes a while to get qualified for those services. I'm sure some of us in the audience know somebody that might be going through that right now. Well, my agency helps people with disabilities, and you don't have to be service connected, which means you have to have the VA say that you were injured. You can simply have a doctor's record, and if it substantially limits one or more of your functions in your life, you're probably going to qualify for services with us. And so the cool thing about my agency is that we can stand in the gap for you. And many people don't know that. Eric found that out. Nothing against the VA, though. They're our friends. Okay, so I was talking to you about all the National Guard that we've helped, and I just want to throw up some numbers. The top one there is called Retaining a Valuable Employee, and that's a program that we have at ADRS, or the Alabama Department of Rehabilitation Services, which you guys can access as well. Retaining your employees is important. Someone that has post-COVID syndrome, someone that has dyslexia, maybe someone that recently was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and is having a little difficulty concentrating on the job because they have poor concentration due to sugar levels. Maybe they need some help with that. They need some counseling. Those are the types of services that we can provide to help you retain your employees. With the National Guard, and I'll show you in a minute, 385 people accessed our services. Now, I'm glad our country is free. Every one of us here has individuals that have served to thank for our freedom, and I'd love to keep as many National Guard in their position as possible. And so the longer they can serve, the better it is for all of us. And so we retained 385. And you can see all of the money that they made, and they make some pretty good money. Is that 5 million? I can't even count up that high. It's pretty high. It's a pretty high number. So we want to help strengthen Alabama National Guard's $1.3 billion economic impact, but we also want to strengthen Auburn University's economic impact and every other employer in the state of Alabama that has employees with disabilities. So I'm going to attempt to play this video now. Patrick, I might need your help. I will see if I can get to it. Technology has not been our friend earlier. And yes, you will see me talking again, and I'll apologize ahead of time. There's a lot of people that go to work in pain every day. Uh-oh. They're your mothers, your sisters. Is it not?
Let me take a look at it.
All right. Stand by.
That's kind of odd.
Got it? All right, we're going to give it another minute. If not, we're going to move on, and I will have Jenna send you that video. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. All right. Yeah, we see that anyway, did you? Did you hear my pitch, right? All right, good. Are we good? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, am I going backwards? Okay. Well. Okay. We want to get on the tractor. Don't you have a big ag thing going on here at all? Am I wrong? Or is it ag? Tell me about that, because I'm from South Florida, so I know that as a recruiter, y'all have some dang good engineers here, because of course we recruit them all the time. But y'all have a big agricultural school, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to show you a really cool accommodation where we had a veteran actually
who lost his leg, still wanted to farm. It was going to be impossible to drive a tractor. How many of y'all think you can drive a tractor with one leg? You know, like moving the, is it a gear shift? I can't drive. I know I'm blind, y'all, I'm sorry. But anyway, he wanted to still work, like we all do, right? I think he was a person with diabetes, might have lost his leg as a result of that. But he wanted to be a farmer, he wanted to keep working. And if you can see him right here on the left, he's in his chair. And the gentleman behind him is his rehabilitation counselor, not to be confused with the VA's rehabilitation counselors. We are the civilian side to the VA. That's his counselor up there who met with him, found out he was a person with a disability, qualified him for services, and we went and assessed his farm, looked at that tractor, checked out what it would take to keep him in that job so that he could continue to work. And all we had to do was introduce hand controls to his tractor. All right? So did you guys know you can drive a car without using your feet? You can just use hand controls. A lot of people don't know that. They're very expensive, but you're a taxpayer. Your tax dollars pay for that. And I don't know about you guys, but I think that's money well spent. If your tax dollars can pay to accommodate John or Jim's tractor so that he can continue working for however long, I think that's not a waste of government resources. Does anyone agree with that? All right, I'm scared to flip it now. Oh, I've got to flip it now. I know, it's kind of strange. So this guy right here, disabled veteran, worked at a hospital in Birmingham. What happened to him? His back was just completely gone. He could not bend, stoop, lift, reach, and pull anymore. And what did he need to do for his job? He was a plumber. And plumbers have to what? Get low, pick up toilets, move, stretch. And so we came in, we figured out what to do, and we bought him this cart that was operated hydraulically, and he had to get up in the pipes above him. And he would just simply lay down on this cart, which, how cool is that? Like, we get used to lay down on to still work. Push a button, and it pushed him up to the pipes, and he could work on them that way, laying down or, not like bent over weird. And then we bought him this, what's it called, a toilet cart? Yeah, those are the innovative solutions that we offer business. And then lastly, you can see the hydraulic lift right there. That's pretty cool too. That looks like a really heavy, I'm not sure what that is, some kind of rotor. I wouldn't want to lift that up. And I don't know about you, even people without disabilities probably need a hydraulic lift, wouldn't you say? So there's your universal design again. All right, that's it. It is 3:30. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being so generous. Lastly, many of you want to find military. You want to hire them, but you just didn't know how. I think everyone in here maybe has wanted to reach out, but just didn't know how. That might be why you came today. And this is how. These are your contacts right here. These are the golden keys to be able to do the how. And so when you go back home and you talk to your spouses and you go back into your communities, you attend your churches or you go to your games, tell them about us. Share this with them. Talk to them about our agency as well and all of the other places that have presented. Refer them to our employers over here for these great jobs that Coke has. Sign them up for the military. Hey, there could be somebody, right? All right. Any questions? Thank y'all for being here. We were glad to put this on. We appreciate you. Thank you, Auburn University. Appreciate it.